Good morning. Happy Sunday. Hi, I'm Miss Julie, and I'm here to tell the St. James Children's Bible story. For the month of August, we've been talking about creativity and God's creativity and how creative He was in making the entire world and how He's given you amazing creativity to use in different ways in your life. And so for today, we're going to talk about a really important book of the Bible called Esther. And Esther was an amazingly creative woman, and she was strong, and she was smart, and she was very, very clever, and she was able to help the Jewish people in a big way. So today we're going to talk about Esther. So this is Esther, and Esther lived at a time where she lived in Babylon, but where she lived was taken over by the Persians, and so she was actually raised by her cousin Mordecai in Persia. Esther becomes queen of Persia. Very creatively as well. Okay, so Esther, and this is her cousin Mordecai, and he is helping to raise her. Now, in Persia, there's a king, always. Okay, this is Xerxes. He is a king. See, he has on his king bow tie, but he is not very nice, and he has a temper. Grr, I have a temper. Rah, I'm gonna kick something. Kick. This is his mad face. Okay. This is his thinking face. But he also has a mad face. Okay, so Xerxes is king. And he, in the story, says to his wife, Vashti, he's like, hey, wifey, get in here. Well, she doesn't come. And he's like, hey, wifey, get in here. Vashti doesn't come, and so Xerxes gets really mad. He could have used police. He could have used some manners. Maybe that's why she was like, no, thank you. Okay, so he gets really mad. And he's like, that's it. I want a new wife. Okay, so then Vashti's out, and he's like, okay, well, I want to pick a new wife. And so he tells his people to get the most beautiful women of the land and give them, I'm not kidding y'all, it's in the Bible, so you know it's true, 1 year of beauty treatments. So he gathers together all of these women. Thank you, Haley, for letting me use your Barbies. And who gets picked? Okay, Esther gets picked. And so she lives for 1 year with all of these other beautiful women, and they give them beauty treatments, and okay, she might need some treatment. They brush their hair and give them beautiful baths, and then Sebastian comes and gives them advice, and he says, you gotta pucker up your lips like this. You gotta bat your eyes like this. Just kidding, Sebastian didn't come. That's copyrighted. So all of these women, right, were like made beautiful. You guys, as a woman who graduated UNC Chapel Hill with a degree in women's studies. Stuff. Okay, so all the beautiful women, right? And then a year later, King Xerxes comes by. Of course he does, right? Not you. Oh, not you. Whoa. Not you. You look familiar, though. And, you're the most beautiful. You're going to be my queen. She looks thrilled. Okay, so Esther becomes queen because Xerxes picked her. Now, life of a queen probably must have been really nice. And she, is in the palace, and she is doing queenly things, right? But there's this also, and her cousin Mordecai still looks out for her, right? Like he comes and he like checks on her every day. He's like, you doing all right? She's like, yeah, I'm good. He's like, okay, you need anything, let me know, right? So Mordecai always comes to check on her. Now, something that Mordecai told Esther not to tell anybody is that they were Jewish. They were Jewish, and the Jewish people were called like God's people, but he didn't want King Xerxes to know that. So there's a guy, dun dun dun, Haman. And Haman worked for Xerxes. Look at him in that plastic coat and strong arms. Okay, bad guy, right? And he worked for the king. Yes, sir, I'll do anything you need me to do, sir. You're a good man. Right? But Haman was evil, and he liked people to bow down to him when he walked by. So one day he walks by Mordecai. Hey you're supposed to bow down. Psh, as if, and Mordecai keeps rolling, right? He probably didn't say it exactly like that, but it was probably really similar. So then Haman gets really mad. I'm really mad. That Mordecai guy, he didn't bow down to me. He thinks he's so great. Some of God's people. Blah, 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 blah. Haman tells King Xerxes that they should punish all of the Jewish people. And he's basically like, we don't really need the Jewish people. We should just get rid of them. King Xerxes trusts this guy, which is why you have to pick your friends carefully, children. And he's like, okay, whatever you want is fine, right? He's like, heh. And so he decides that he's going to punish and send away and kill a lot of the Jewish people. Told you, bad guy. So then Mordecai sends Queen Esther a note. Did he email her? No. Did he text message her? No. Did he send carrier pigeon? No. He sent a paper airplane. And he paper airplanes. Okay, that part's not in the Bible. A message to Esther. It was a really good paper airplane. And she opens it up. And she reads it. Dear Esther, wrong note. Dear Esther, says this, you must ask the king to save our people. Sincerely, Mordecai. It says it right on there. She's like, Now, she's a little nervous because she knows that she wants to help her Jewish people because she knows that the evil guy is punishing the Jewish people and they didn't even do anything. And so she's like, how do I ask the king for help? Because if you get on his bad side, things could be really bad for him, right? So she starts thinking about it. And so Mordecai wanted her to talk to the king, but you can't just walk up and start talking to the king, right? So someone could be King Xerxes is hanging, and he's like, hey, King Xerxes, I was thinking that maybe, whoa, you talk to me without me putting my golden scepter towards you. Off with your head. Not really, but yeah. And you couldn't just walk up and talk to the king. He had this special golden scepter, and if he pointed the golden scepter at you, then you could talk. And this is his golden scepter. Oh. This is now a golden scepter. Attention all! King Xerxes now has his golden scepter. Okay, so he would sit. Item not to scale. Things in the rearview mirror may be... what is it? Objects may be closer than they appear. Okay, so this is his scepter, and you couldn't just walk up and talk to him. You had to be called on, and he would point his scepter, right? So she was a little nervous. I'm a little nervous. I don't know. So Mordecai sends her a second paper airplane. And this one says, this time, Dear Esther, what if you don't say anything at this time? Then help for the Jews will come from another place. Who knows? It's possible you became queen for a time just like this. And she's like, okay, I have to help my people, but I have to be creative and I have to use my smart brain and think about how I can do this. So she goes to the king, and he's hanging out with this guy, right? Haman. And hanging out with some people. Here. Hanging out with some people. There we go. They're just hanging out. And Esther comes in, right? Do, 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 do. And the king is like, get out of my way, everybody. Because I'm going to point my golden scepter at Queen Esther. So he points his scepter at Esther, and so then she can talk. Now, this is it. This is the moment. This is the moment she's going to tell him, hey, your one guy is trying to kill the Jewish people. Nope, that's not what she does. She's smart. Crafty. And so he's like, what do you want? Anything you want. You can have up to half of my kingdom, Queen Esther. And she goes, you want to have lunch? Sure. Okay. And she invites him over to a meal. Oh, and she says, bring Haman. Bring your friend. Okay. What? This was it. This was the moment. She was supposed to be like, help my people. But she didn't. She involved snacks. So, King Xerxes, Haman, all come over. And she was like, thank you for coming to lunch. Here is some fruit for you. Here's some fruit for you. And they're like, oh, great, we love fruit. And so the king is like, okay, well, what did you want to talk about? And she was like, well, I really want to talk to you about, did you enjoy your fruit? Yes, the fruit was very good. What would you like? Well, would you like an apple? No, I'm good. You just gave me a whole bowl of fruit that was literally bigger than my head. Oh, okay. What I really, really, really want, yes. Do you want to come to lunch another day? Yeah, I love snacks. Okay, I'll see you for lunch another day. Okay, bye. She tells him to come back again. Come back and have lunch another day. And the king is like, okay. But at this point, he knows she wants something. She wants to talk to me. There's something going on. There's something, I have to figure it out, right? So later, they go back and they have a meal, and he keeps trying to figure out what it is that she wants. And so she finally tells, right? So they have a meal, have another meal. Bad guy, Haman, dun dun dun. He comes too, and Queen Esther, having given them snacks and food, super smart, says, Haman is trying to kill all of the Jewish people, and I'm Jewish, and I have a problem with that, and I want you to save all the Jewish people. And the king is like, Haman, did you, why did you, did you, get out of here, get out! Right? He probably cried. I don't know. I wasn't there. I'm not quite that old. So then King Haman reversed, King Xerxes reversed everything that Haman did. So the bad guy was trying to hurt the Jewish people, and because Esther used her super smart brain and snacks and got him to stop that, and she was able to save hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people by using her creative brain. God had a purpose for her, and Mordecai knew that God had a purpose for her, and she became queen for a reason, even though she was a little nervous, right? And God has a purpose for your life too. God has a plan, and sometimes it seems like we don't really know what's going on. Sometimes things seem a little confusing. Sometimes you're not really sure what's going on, but you have to know that God has a plan for your life, and he has a purpose for your life. You might not be Esther's story. You might not have to, thank goodness, go through beauty treatments for a whole year, in order for some guy to pick you. You are valuable, you are worthy, you are perfect just the way you are. You don't need anybody else, right? But it might not be her story, but she was put in a position where she could help someone. And you have times where you're put in positions where you can help someone. Some of you have school coming up. Oh my gosh, I can't believe it's time for school. Some of you are going back to school. Some of you are going to be doing school at your house. Parents, we are praying for you. Some of you have opportunities where you can help other people. And sometimes you have to be kind of creative about it. If you've got a friend that maybe is really struggling, but now you're virtual, you can send them an email. You can make a fun video and send it to them. You could even say, hey, let's have snack time together. And then your friend gets their snack and you get their snack, and then y'all could Zoom while you're eating your snack together and just talk and chat and catch up. There are lots of ways that you can help other people. For some of the older kids, they need help with the food pantry, right? We've got a lot of people right now that are kind of struggling, and so there are ways that you can help them. You have so much talent, and you have a purpose. God has given you those talents for a purpose. You just kind of have to figure out what they are and how you want to spend that time, right? And how you want to share your talent. So, thank you to Esther. It's an amazing, amazing book of the Bible. You could read the whole thing in just a little bit. And thank you for Mordecai. Thank you for the people in our lives that look out for us and take care of us and want what's best for us. And even though, right, they're not always best, sometimes we have people in our lives that are stuck in really difficult positions, and we're able to influence them. We're able to help, and we're able to influence people make good choices. So, let's put our hands together, eyes closed. Dear God, thank you so much for sending us the story of Esther. Thank you for the story of her bravery and her creativity. Help us to be brave and help us to be creative, because we know you have a purpose and a plan for our life. Thanks, everybody. I hope you have a good first week of school. Be brave. No matter what your school looks like, you can do this. Be brave. Bye, everybody.